think it's about time to get this one started, isn't it? Yeah. All right, folks, this is Sherman Ray. This is the Livin in Vegas podcast. Time to get this show started. Let's go. And welcome, everybody. This is Sherman Ray, and this is the Livin in Vegas podcast. We come to you each and every day, Monday through Friday, tell you about the people, the places, the trends, the events that shape the city of Las Vegas. I'm your humble host, Sherman Ray. I'm the publisher of Livin in Vegas magazine. Want to say hello to everybody who's joining us this morning all across the fruited plain. If you're watching us on Facebook, I'm going to click over there right now because I brought up the page, but I didn't put the page up, so I'm going to come over there right now. So if you're watching us on Facebook, you're watching us on YouTube or something like that, especially if you're on YouTube, go ahead and right here, just click the subscribe button. Make sure everybody knows that subscribe to the page, this channel. That's what it is. Subscribe to the channel, and that way every time that we update, you can actually see what we're doing and stuff like that, which is really kind of cool. I went over to LinkedIn this morning. Went riding early this morning, and then got home before the show, and got on LinkedIn, and could not believe the amount of people who had been reaching out to me over the last week or so. And I'm not on LinkedIn as much. I'm really not. I love being on social media. I really do, and we post a lot of stuff on social media. But so busy with stuff, especially the last couple of weeks, it's very hard to get on social media just to kind of hang out and talk. But I had to do some cleaning up because there's a lot of messages. It was over 400 messages. I know it's a lot of messages. So make an announcement here after we talk about the magazine, because this is very important stuff too. So if you want to check out the current issue of Livin in Vegas magazine, just go to our website at livininvegas.com. That's livininvegas.com. And you can check that out. We actually update that website all the time, so you've seen articles and stories and videos, that kind of stuff. Links. We're putting up new links now. There's a whole links page. I think we also added onto that page a Vegas Livin Expos page. We're going to talk more about that in probably the next couple of days, because I've been kind of alluding to it over the last couple of days, but really not really pushed it because we had to wait for some parts and pieces to come together. But we're going to make more announcements on the Vegas Livin Expos. Also, we have a magazine called Livin Weekly magazine. So, Livin Weekly, this is the current issue of Livin Weekly, and great articles in there, really are. I think, as a matter of fact, I can barely see it there. We were talking about being addicted to social media, and how people really get addicted to it because they're on it constantly. I had the conversation with myself many years ago, and I said, man, what did I used to do before I got on social media? And you can spend a lot of time doing it. Social media is very useful, get some great information, but I tend to be a reader, that kind of stuff, and we just want to make sure that everybody is just doing their thing and really just kind of going out there and making a difference. So that article is in there. What else is in there? About the Huntridge Hotel, the Huntridge Theater. That's a great article, talking about what their changes are going to be at. That's the historic theater that's in Las Vegas. Anyways, you can go to Livin Weekly to see that one, and the magazine's just fantastic. We're already working on the next one. It'll be out tomorrow, so it's generally out every Friday or so. And I'm going to go back to the Livin in Vegas magazine. Because really, this is really important. If you would like to be a part of Livin in Vegas magazine, okay, and this is our premier edition. This is our top shelf offering, you need to contact us. Excuse me. This is really important that you contact us. You need to contact us at info@livininvegas.com. That's info@livininvegas.com. If you'd like to be an advertiser, you have a story, that kind of stuff. We are compiling the magazine right now. We're on the final couple of weeks before we'll end everything. We really have a deadline, a hard deadline of about June 15th, where we're going to take our last submittals, either as an advertiser or something like that. Please, if you would like to be in the Livin in Vegas magazine, contact us so we can actually make you a part of what we're doing. Well, that's interesting. Oh, okay. I'm looking on Facebook and they gave me a really weird looking screen on there. That was I've never seen that before. So okay, good enough. If you've got a comment you'd like to make on Facebook, definitely let me know. I can actually see it. So I'm looking over at my screen right now. I can actually see if anybody's on or if anybody wants to say anything. Don't worry, folks. I'll look over from time to time and I'll check out what you're saying and stuff like that. So don't worry, we'll actually get you on there. Let's talk about, because there's so much to talk about today. Let's take a real quick break and then we'll get going with the show. Okay. Yeah, so we're very cool. I'm so excited about living local. A lot of stuff we're going to be talking about today. We're going to actually show, I don't know, we'll show quite a bit of the show today. Okay, we will. We'll do a lot of the show today. So I think that every once in a while we'll do that. Okay, generally we won't because, I know people have things to do. I really do. And we'll try to be very conscious of your time. So, we don't want to, take all of your time and stuff like that. Oh, let's get that email off there for a second too, because people. So I'm Sherman Ray. If you didn't know. So let's get started with the show here today, folks. Many of you know there was a story down in the. There was a story out a couple of days ago about the Arts District, and what happened is a mural down in the Arts District area was actually taken down from the walls, and it was this was a pretty famous mural. The guy who actually did the mural, what's his name? Oh, his name is Xavi Panetone. Okay, and he's a renowned artist, and he did a mural at the corner of Main and Imperial Avenue. And suddenly it was whitewashed over. They whitewashed it over so they could actually do an advertising. Well, he found out about it pretty quick. I don't know where he lives at, but he found out about it pretty quick. And it threw the whole neighborhood into a tizzy. Everybody started saying, hey, guess what? That's going to happen to us now. All the murals that are down there, they're going to start tearing them down. And they went to the city council. They talked to people about whether or not this was going to actually be something that could be widespread. And what rights do muralists or artists have to those sides of buildings? Well, the city, unless it's actually a city project, the city has nothing to do with it, basically. That was kind of the city's answer to them. Because what they'll do is they'll enter into partnerships with certain people, certain artists, certain groups, and they'll say, hey, we want to commission you to do this, that, or the other thing. Okay? But in this case, this was actually the owner of the building and the muralist got together and said, hey, can you do something on the side of my building? Okay. It's my building, paint, okay, and I can do whatever I want with it. But in this case, the owner sold. It seems like either he sold the side of the building or he sold something that they changed ownership of the side of the building, And so they wanted to, whoever the new owner of it now is, and nobody can find out who this new owner is, they wanted an ad on the side of their building, which makes sense. It's their building. They want to advertise on the side of their building. And they may not have any emotional attachment to the muralist or the painting or whatever it was up there. So they, but it's still very hurtful. So this is the deal. They said, so people were asking, well, what rights do a muralist or a visual artist have? And they asked who they ask? They asked some lawyer about this. This was very interesting. This was actually an interesting article. I know we're kind of going on and on about this, but this is actually, if you're a visual artist, this really applies to you. And we'll leave a link to this. And if you're on our mailing list, you'll actually get this story because it's a very interesting story. Back in 1990, a judge, there was a ruling, and it's called the Visual Arts Rights Act, or VERA. And they said, hey, guess what? These are the laws that, these are the guidelines that oversee somebody who wants to put up visual art. And I'm sorry, I've got my page here keeps refreshing for some reason. And so here's general. I'm gonna read this thing here, and I know. Thank you guys for being very patient with this, but this is very important. Generally, here was the question, folks. They said, hey, do you need a copyright, or does any mural artist have a claim for protection under this law, this visual arts law? And do they need to copyright, or do they have a copyright protection as a result of this law, this 1990 law? And the answer was yes. Generally, the Visual Arts Rights Act, or VERA, provides rights to authors of visual art, including mural artists. Okay? A person acquires a copyright when they create artwork without the need to formally register the copyright, although formal registration provides broader rights. Under VERA, a mural artist has the right to, get this, prevent intentional distortion, mutilation, or modification of the artwork, among other rights. Okay, so he probably has a few other rights. Absent a signed agreement, and this is kind of the iffy part, absent a signed agreement under which the artist provides the owner of the building the right to destroy or modify the artwork, that owner may not have the right to do so. Wow. And should seek out legal advice before taking action, or else risk being found liable for significant damages. So it sounds to me like what happened here is that if you're a muralist and you paint something on the side of somebody's building, you've basically, and you've made an agreement with the guy, you basically have a copyright on that building, and they can't do anything with that. They actually have to ask you, because you can't just change what they just put up there, so what you want to think about this before you let somebody do this. So we're going to leave a link to, there's actually quite a few murals around town, and this is very important, that we understand the law, what can happen, and also I think respect what these guys are doing. Now, I may not like it, you may not like it, you do like it, you don't like it. It's not the point. The point is that a lot of people put a lot of time and effort into doing all this stuff, and we need to, be a little more respectful about it. We'll be back in just a second, okay? Hi, everybody. It's Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas podcast. Are you a business owner that's looking to get the word out about his product, service, or even just a great message out there? Well, we'd like to give you that opportunity by being a guest on Livin in Vegas podcast. It's super simple. All you've got to do is contact us at advertising@livininvegas.com. That's advertising@livininvegas.com, and we'll schedule you for an interview on Livin in Vegas podcast. I'm Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas podcast, where we talk about the people, the places, the trends, and the events that shape the city of Las Vegas. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Yeah. Interesting. That's right, folks. If you want to be a part of the show, and we're working on editing right now a couple of shows that we taped a couple of days ago. But if you'd like to be on the show, you want to have something out, you want to underwrite part of the show, man, we'd love to have you on here. We really would. It's fun. They're fun interviews, and I think it'll get you out there a lot more than you think. So it's pretty cool. Let's go back to this article we were talking about, and we were talking about downtown in the Arts District. This mural that was taken down off the side of this building. And once again, there's murals all over the downtown area, and it's become that kind of bohemian hip thing that's going on. Going around a lot of inner city downtown areas. But here's the thing about, and this is what I'm getting from just this Vera law, which, and for those of you, this might be the first time you're joining us. There is actually a law that was brought out in 1993, I believe it was. Let me double check. I don't want to. Yeah, 1990, and it's called the Visual Artist Rights Act. Okay, and what the law basically says is, hey, guess what? If I'm a muralist or an artist and I paint something on the side of your wall, there is actually a copyright that's already automatically put on that wall. Okay, don't quote me on this, folks. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not, and even though I stayed in a Motel 6, I'm still not a lawyer. But if you paint on the side of somebody's building, you've had an agreement with the owner that, hey, I want to do this. So it's kumbaya. It's it's a symbiotic relationship. All of a sudden, there becomes a relationship that's built that if you are the owner of that building, you cannot just do whatever you want with that thing now because it's copyrighted now, and it's a copywritten thing. So back down in the Arts District, this actually happened where a guy, pretty famous guy, painted on the side of a building. They whitewashed it to put up an ad in its place. Okay. Well, this just didn't go over well. Once again, well, there's more to this story. Okay. So we read basically what the Vera law says, the Visual Arts Rights Act said, but in addition to that, there's more to it. They said, in addition to what we just talked about, that you can't just do whatever the heck you want with it. You've got to hear this too. This is very interesting. In addition to the above comments, and we'll post this, folks, so you can actually read this yourself. Once again, I'm not an attorney. I'm just reading what this says, so don't shoot me. The artist also has the right to receive notice from the owner of the property on which the artist's work was created that the owner intends to move the artwork, assuming that such removal can be done without destroying the art. In that case, the owner must attempt to give notice, and then the artist has 90 days to remove the artwork. Wow. Oh my gosh. I don't know if this was actually done. We don't know. I mean, I didn't see anywhere in this article where they actually said anything about this, that there was notice given to this artist that, hey, guess what? We're gonna whitewash over it because we want to do something. We want to get that thing out of here, which is kind of ridiculous. I don't know if you can actually even do that. I mean, can you actually even move the side of a building? I guess you can take a picture of it. That's about it. But that's pretty much all you're going to be doing. This does not apply if the artwork cannot be removed without destruction. In which case, as stated above, the owner must be careful, because if he or she does not have permission from the artist to destroy the artwork, the owner could potentially be subject to significant damages. Wow. So, I guess if you can't move the building, none of this really applies. Okay? That's what it said. Okay, but this says this does not apply if the artwork cannot be removed without destruction. Okay, so it doesn't apply if you can't, if you have to break the wall, doesn't apply. He doesn't. Does that mean he doesn't have to give notice? That's what it kind of sounds like, right? So once again, I'm not an attorney, folks. Don't get upset at me. Um, I just think that this is just kind of a crazy thing that happened here, and what are you gonna do? Let's talk a little bit, folks. Let's move on to something else. I hope they resolve this. I really do. This is actually a really tough one. Over many of you probably know about station casinos, and station casinos they've got several of them all spread around town. I probably have 10 or 12 of them. It seems like Palace Station, Fiesta, that kind of stuff. Well, a couple of them have actually been closed for at least 2 years now. And two of them have not opened, and they said they're going to remain closed through June 23rd, or June of 2023. And that would be Texas Station and Fiesta Rancho. They said they're going to remain non-operational through June 4th of 2023. And this is, once again, and it's not as though people don't care whether these buildings, these casinos open. Some people have very memories that they've built throughout time in these buildings, and they're saying, hey, look, just do something with them, because guess what? If you don't do something, what will happen is undesirables will come in to the area and do things. So please do something in the area. Or if you're going to shutter them and you're going to destroy them, bring in something else that's really cool so that we can actually have something cool to look at in our neighborhood. Okay, which makes sense. That only makes sense. Well, we hope that happens too, because we had a lot of casinos just opened up. Very excited about that. The Palms just opened up their doors, so very excited that actually happened too. So and we only have like a handful of casinos that just have not opened back up again. We hope that they can get back up together again. Let's talk about Formula One racing. Okay, Formula One, F1 is coming to Vegas 2023. We talked about this a couple weeks ago, and remember we were talking about the land that these folks had bought. It's a group called Liberty Media, and the Formula One Corporation, the parent company of Formula One, finally it's closed the deal on the $240 million purchase of land near the Las Vegas Strip in advance of the planned race in 2023, which is really cool. So we're really excited about what's going to be happening with Formula One. And the reason why I do is I watch Formula One all the time. And as a matter of fact, I watched it this weekend too. And I'm just kind of hurt right now that Lewis Hamilton his ride is just not as fast as the Red Bulls right now. So he drives for Mercedes, and his ride is just not as fast. And that's just kind of where it is. He's been dominating for, oh my gosh, for years. I mean, almost a decade. This guy's just been dominating. He's the number one racer of all times. He's had the most titles, the most wins, the most number one pole position. He's just the bad boy. And he looks like my son-in-law. But this year, just not there. Just not there. So, but he's going to be here. He'll be here in town. Maybe I'll get to see him. Wouldn't that be cool? Would love to meet Lewis Hamilton. So, folks, if you know of Lewis Hamilton, you know him personally, tell him I want to meet him. Okay. So let's talk about what do we want to move to? Because we don't have a lot of time left. Yeah, I got 5 minutes. Okay, there were some people in a. Gosh, this is almost a terrible story, but I got a report on it because these folks have been around for a long time. Mobile home park called Desert Paradise Mobile Home Park. They have been served notice. They were served notice February that they were going to be evicted because their homes were not up to standards. The owner of the mobile home park was told, "Hey, you've got to rectify these these shortcomings, and it didn't happen, and that's a problem. So the city came in with inspectors, code enforcement. Clark County officials came in with code enforcement. They deemed the homes on the property unsafe and not up to county code. And oh, sounds like we have a dog that's jumping around over there. So we're gonna have to find out what's going on with that. Sorry about that, folks. But it looks like these folks are out on their keisters, and this is sad because some of them were homeless before, and now they're going to be homeless again. The city comes back and they said, "Hey, look, we gave you opportunity because we told you about this in February that this place was going to be closed by May 31st, and you didn't move. And now they're saying now you have to leave, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it." And I think it's one of those cases where they're going to actually send in the marshal, padlock your door, and you're done. So it's kind of a bad juju, man. I mean, this is no good, no bueno. So we have to keep those folks in our prayers. Let's end on a happy note. Aces, folks. Our Aces. Aces, not anything else. The Las Vegas Aces got 3 awards, okay? 3 awards. In addition to just being the bad girls of basketball. The Aces, Asia Wilson, she got 2 of them. So Asia Wilson took home on Wednesday Player of the Week. She also locked down the Kia WNBA Western Conference Player of the Month for May. So very cool. And to not be outdone, Becky Hammond, the coach, she got Coach of the Month for May also. So, which is very cool. You know, we're excited for our girls. They're just, on occasion, Facebook they'll send you stuff and they'll say, hey, these are memories that you had. Okay, memories that you had that on Facebook, things you post. And I'm on social media all the time. So 3 years ago, was it 3 years ago? Yeah, 3 years ago I got a notice that said, hey, you love the Aces so much. This is what you posted 3 years ago, and it was something of Liz Cambage. But I loved them before that. Okay, when they first came to town, I went to their games. I really did. Always been, and many of you know this already, Aces or UNLV. I'm very big on them. I mean, I love everybody else. I love the Raiders. I love the VGK, all these other teams and stuff like that. But I am a big Aces fan. Aviators. I love the Aviators because we had a story about the Aviators too because they won again, this time over Sacramento. Yes. And we'll end on this story. Okay, how much time do I have? Oh, I got 1 minute. So this is Ashley Scroggins. Ashley Scroggins is she's a transfer, and she's going to be she's actually eligible now to play for UNLV, which is great. So 5'7". She came out of Dallas, Oregon, and so we are very excited that she's going to be playing for the Lady Rebels. And you know the Lady Rebels they did fantastic last year. They did fantastic. They were seeded number 13 in the Mountain West, and can't imagine them doing anything other than doing, if not better, they might actually take the title this year. Okay, you heard it here first, folks. Okay, you heard it here first. I'll go out on a limb and say the Lady Rebels, when we talk about this again towards the end of the year, or actually the beginning of the year next year, we'll come back to this. I'll play the tape. Okay, that you heard it here. That I believe that the Lady Rebels are going to do great things in the next Mountain West playoffs. Okay. Anyways, we're out of time, folks. We really are. I wish we could go on and on, but we can't. Thank you, folks, for being a part of the show. We'll be back again tomorrow to talk about the people, the places, the trends, the events that shape the city of Las Vegas. I'm your host, Sherman Ray, for Livin in Vegas podcast. We'll see you again tomorrow, folks. Bye-bye.